Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Cahill and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my top 8 tips for NaNoWriMo. Of course, I'm not guaranteeing you a win if you do decide to follow any of these tips. All writers are different and what works for me might not work for you. But this is a list of the things I have personally found so helpful to remember and to do during NaNoWriMo to ensure a smoother win than a rocky one. Number 1 is to schedule your time. If you are super busy, like a lot of people are, if you are in full-time education, if you have a full-time job or multiple jobs, if you have children at home to look after, finding the time to write can be a very, very difficult thing. Especially if you have so much more going on around you. You've been up early, you've been sitting down, you've been focusing, working on other things all day. You get home, you don't want to do anything, especially not writing. But it's NaNoWriMo, you still have 1,667 words to write. The easiest way I found of counteracting this issue is by scheduling in my time. And by that I mean studying the schedule that you currently have and finding gaps in it to fill with writing. Now, whether this is checking what time you have certain classes, whether this is factoring in the time you are spending at work, find any moments in the day you feel like you could get some writing in. Now, it doesn't have to be a lot of time. You might be able to schedule in an entire half an hour to write. It might only be 5 minutes scattered throughout the day. Any time that you have that you might feasibly be able to sit down, whether that is at a computer, whether that is with a notebook and pen, to do some writing, schedule it in. And by schedule it in, I mean add it to your schedule or your timetable. Make it official. If you are one for following your schedules, you're more likely to do it if it's actually written there rather than if it's just a thought in your head. That way, when you're going into each and every day, writing is clearly there on your schedule so you know you have to do it. Don't worry about how much you're writing in that time. Just ensure that at your scheduled times, you do some form of writing. Now, while we're talking about scheduling, don't forget to add in some catch-up days as well. They don't have to be very often, they don't even have to be full days, just a decent amount of time that you need every single week when your schedule allows you to, where you know that you can fully commit to writing for an extended period of time without getting distracted by anything else that you have on your to-do list. Yes, this includes chores. Number 2, write more when you can. Look, we all know the goal for NaNoWriMo is 1,667 words per day. That will easily get you the 50k you need. But you know for a fact going into November that there are some days you might not be able to manage 1,667 words. Whether that's because of how busy you are, no matter what you've scheduled, or because you know that you're going to lag a little bit. When you're feeling the inspiration, when you're feeling the motivation, when you have the time, write more than the daily word count. Don't aim for 1,667 words per day, aim for 2,000. Every time you write a little bit more than the dedicated word count per day, the less you're going to have to write later on. All those extra words will soon add up and you'll be able to finish faster. Number 3, free writing. This is something that I have been doing more and more recently. It's something that I find is very helpful when I have a word count based challenge to do. If you are sitting down and you are struggling with what to write next or how to phrase a certain something, it's going to trip you up a little bit, especially when you have to write a certain amount of words per day in order to hit the 50k at the end of the month. Free writing is a method where you write whatever comes to mind. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, it doesn't matter if it makes sense. It doesn't even have to be 100% related to the story at first. It is a way to get your brain flowing and your creativity going. Many times I'll start my free writing sessions with something like, right, now I know that I need to figure out this plot point in order for this bit to go forward, but I'm not quite sure what to do. And then I will sort of vomit onto the page everything that I know about the issue that I'm having, and eventually my brain will kickstart and figure out what it is that I need to do, and then I go on to my writing from there. It can also be as simple as writing down, now they have a fight scene. I'm not quite sure how this fight scene is going to go, but I think I want this particular character to do this thing and this particular character to have this reaction. Free write, keep it simple. Don't worry about all of the details just yet. Free writing will help get those words down when you're stuck and hopefully will kickstart your creativity along the way. Number 4, have alternative everything. Do you always write at a screen? Make sure you have a pen and notebook floating nearby. Do you always write at your desk? Find yourself a nice comfy seat on the sofa. You're working on a specific project? Have something else standing by just in case. Nothing is worse than getting stuck, but I found a great way to get unstuck is to change something about what you're currently doing, whether that is the medium that you are writing with, whether that is the location that you are writing in, whether that is what you are currently working on. Now, yes, I know NaNoWriMo is supposed to be all about working on one single project, but if you're stuck on that project and nothing can unshake you, have an alternative to try and keep going. Having an alternative can help unstick your mind, to give you a creative break. Can't focus on the writing? Make sure you have a different creative project to work on, whether that is reading, creating, drawing, crafting, knitting or crocheting, something else to keep you creative but to give your brain a break from the work of NaNoWriMo without losing the creativity. If you've been stuck inside the house, try going outside to write. Move to a different location in your house, go to the sofa, go to the kitchen table, go to the bedroom, sit on the bed, etc, etc. Doing your routine differently might help shake anything that's stuck in your brain. Number 5, make good use of the community. NaNoWriMo is one of those few months of the year where the community really pulls together to support each other. After all, if we're all participating in NaNoWriMo, we're all going to be complaining about the same thing. Share your success on Twitter or Instagram. Huddle together in your Discord groups. Take part in live streams on YouTube or Twitch. Really immerse yourselves in the community. Talk to each other. Complain to each other. Because we all know what you're going through and we can all offer help and advice if you need it. And like NaNoWriMo says, you're more likely to win if you've got a buddy helping you along the way. Number 6, have rewards planned. I cannot stress this enough. You are writing 50,000 words in 1 month. That is a big thing. And whether you achieve the 50,000 words or not, it is still a big accomplishment to be taking part in NaNoWriMo itself. So reward yourself for doing it. Now you can choose how to do this. If I'm going overboard with NaNoWriMo, I typically give myself a reward every 10,000 words that I write to sort of help me keep going. You can choose to give yourself any reward you want at any milestone you choose. You know that you start flaking out at around day 10? Well then plan a reward on day 15 if you manage to write every single day until then. Struggle writing more than 1,000 words per day? Then give yourself daily rewards, whether that is going to a cafe and getting a hot chocolate, whether that is buying a specific thing from that bakery that you really like, whether you really want a new notebook and need to justify it somehow. Give yourself something to look forward to every single time you achieve the smallest goal that you want to achieve. NaNoWriMo is hard. You need to give yourself something to look forward to while you're doing it. Number 7, and people are going to hate me for this, don't edit. Don't edit, don't edit, don't edit. Look, I know some people can't help themselves but edit what they've done, okay? I used to be one of those people until NaNoWriMo firmly kicked my butt about it. If you're trying to write 50,000 words in 1 month, sometimes you don't have the time or the luxury to edit the work that you have done. For those of us who aren't being a nano rebel and are actually writing a first draft, the quality of it doesn't matter. Who cares if you keep spelling words wrong or there's a plot hole or something doesn't quite make sense? You're the only person who's going to be reading this at the end of the day. A first draft that is low in quality says absolutely nothing about your skill as a writer, so please don't feel bad about it. Personally, for me, trying to figure out exactly what the word is I'm thinking of will distract me. Researching a specific piece of information that I need to write into the novel will distract me. Worrying if I've got the continuity correct between chapter 7 and chapter 2 is going to distract me. So I've learned not to care about it until I've finished the draft. Now, if you're really one of those people who can't help but edit your work, fine. Don't edit until you've written 1,667 words. Once you've hit the minimum daily word count for NaNoWriMo, then by all means edit away. But don't do it while you're trying to hit that word count, otherwise it's going to take you longer to get there. And finally, number 8, keep a strong state of mind. Again, NaNoWriMo is not easy, especially if you're not used to writing such a large amount of words in such a short amount of time. This is going to be difficult, but I found it's one of the most necessary things in order to complete NaNoWriMo with as little hiccups as possible. Stay confident no matter what is thrown at you throughout the month. Don't regret those times that you might not hit 1,667 words per day. Sometimes it's not manageable to do so. Don't feel guilty if you take breaks, if you don't write 2 or 3 days in a row. Don't get down on yourself if you fall behind. Don't feel bad if your writing isn't up to scratch. Don't compare yourself to any other writer participating in NaNoWriMo, especially if you feel they are doing a better job than you. You're 2 different people with 2 different lives and most likely 2 different levels of experience. Take NaNoWriMo one day at a time. Focus on the work that you have done, not the work that you still have to do. Don't worry that you're not going to hit 50,000 words, because until you haven't, you don't know that you're not. And remember that winning NaNoWriMo isn't the be-all end-all. You are not a terrible writer if you don't manage to hit 50,000 words in 1 month. Take all of that motivation and belief that you would happily throw onto another writer and give it to yourself. If you believe they can do it, then so can you. So those were my 8 tips for NaNoWriMo. Let me know down in the comments below, are you taking part this year? What tips would you give to someone who's just starting NaNoWriMo for the first time? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.